Senator Britt of Alabama is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate all of you being here. Professor Lynn, I'll have to say, as someone who went back to law school with essentially a newborn and an 11-month-old, it particularly warms my heart to see Oliver here with you today.
Thank you, Senator.
I want to start by saying I am proud from being from a state where financial institutions are really strong. While Alabamians every day continue to face the daily impacts of inflation and economic uncertainty that I believe have been caused by the Biden administration's failed policies, I am proud of the work our regional banks, community banks, and our credit unions have continued to play to instill confidence in Alabama and to support our communities. Regarding the recent failures of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and more recently First Republic, I continue to be concerned with regulators' blatant failure to utilize their current authorities ahead of these events. And I believe that recent reports from the Federal Reserve, FDIC, and GAO even further spotlight these failures. I look forward to having the regulators back to testify later this month and provide more definitive answers to this committee following their fact-finding exercises. On today's topic, I certainly agree with my colleagues that bad actors at any institution must be held accountable. In this particular case, it's clear that there were significant mismanagement and risk controls at both SVB and Signature that just went awry. And I believe any individual that knowingly contributed to or unjustly profited from the bank's failure and ultimate downfall should absolutely be held responsible. I want to discuss potential legislation, but before we do that, I think it's very important not to be duplicative. So very quickly, if we can just go across, and I will start with you, Professor Schooner. You mentioned existing law. If we can very tightly talk about what law is on the books currently that could be used to hold these bad actors accountable.
The bank regulators have administrative enforcement authority to bring actions in multiple different ways. The standards of culpability are high, though, and so that's where I think that there could be some reform in those laws.
Thank you. Mr. Goodwin.
Senator Britt, if you take a look at the existing authorities that banking regulators have, that the Department of Justice has, SEC has, we do believe that those authorities can hold those people accountable. And we think that it is important. That's why I raised the Credit Suisse issue of if we put things out of balance, it's actually going to make our banking system weaker, and we don't want to go down that road.
Okay, let's actually drill down on that. How do you feel like there could be something that would be narrowly tailored that would not do that? Because the problem is you want to make sure that you are holding bad actors accountable, but not being overly broad and clawbacks that deters talent from entering this industry. You all have said, obviously, the banking industry is so critical to making sure that this country continues to thrive in the way it does. And so we need the best and brightest going into the banking sector. So can you drill down on a narrowly tailored solution to that?
One of the reasons why I think that the upcoming hearings are so important is that we have the bank saying to the regulators, SVB saying to the banking regulator, our comp packages are not, are below where our peers are. But then there's all these governance issues that then the supervisors are flagging, but they're not doing anything on. So I think it's more looking at what broke down within the regulatory structure that needs to be done, because that's why I said with Mr. Scott's questioning, of if the cop on the beat is not enforcing the law, new laws aren't going to do anything.
Correct. And Professor Lynn.
Thank you, Senator. I also agree that the current structure has enforcement tools at a regulator's disposal, but their hands are tied.
And what would you use if I made you right now try to hold these men and women accountable who unjustly or enrich themselves? What would you use?
There are three main tools. One is the Removal and Prohibition Authority, which bars the bankers from the industry.
Okay.
The second could be a civil money penalty order, which has been used against executives. And third would be a personal cease and desist order, which could halt certain activities and ask bankers to refrain from certain activities, identifiable activities in the future.
Okay, and those are all on the books right now. That's what you would use.
But their culpability standards make it difficult for regulators to use, especially against senior leadership at large banks.
Okay, I am out of time, but I certainly believe we need to hold these people accountable, but make sure that that's narrowly tailored to address the issue at hand. Thank you all.